Hey everybody, welcome back to No Stone Face Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here watching some 86. We got some comments here today, so let's see what people got to say. We got Lord YOLO from Even So saying, the thing about Shin and the others is, once again, they've been persecuted by their country who would probably ignore any words or strategical advice that came from them, except Lena. It's not exactly a hero complex, and more about pessimism nihilism that their words would fall on deaf ears anyway for something sounding so ridiculous. No matter how good or better their intentions seem to be, they still don't have much faith in the Federation. Like, there's not a lot of normal context where a country would change their entire military plans in the words of one soldier. That has probably been probed and scanned the moment he came into the country. It really only a fuck around and find out situation that could make them reevaluate. Their lack of faith is still kind of a selfish thing, though, very understandable coming from such a background. But I do find that calling it a hero complex as if he wants to be the guy with all of the info alone is a little bit exaggerated. His faith in humanity is simply at the bottom, which is why he won't waste much time trying.
2 points that counter this one. I feel like one, the president of the country knows that these kind of powers exists because of Frederica. So it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, no one would believe him. Literally, one, the president, the acting president of the country knows about these kind of powers and is constantly pushing for these kids. And two, the hero complex thing sounds weird to you. Well, it feels like an episode ago that Raiden is like, "What are you trying to do? Run off and get killed like some sort of hero?" It does not seem to me like it doesn't make sense. It really seems like even the other 86ers are seeing what I'm seeing.
I feel like shit has gone downhill since the point where we were accusing him of being a hero, holding his officers to gunpoint, you know? I feel like those two situations, him running headfirst at the artillery versus what he did like before the attack, are like two slightly different wavelengths of his, right?
A character that's capable of such a thing is a character that did such a thing. So I don't see the difference.
I guess it just depends on where it's coming from because like in the first instance, like Yordle was more or less on point. He doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't think anything's gonna happen. He's just one dude, and if he's not shouting and pointing a gun at someone, no one's gonna pay attention to it. Even if he didn't have like all the baggage going around, that's still a mostly reasonable thought half the time. It's not entirely not understandable, you know. On the other hand, when he like rushes directly towards the artillery trying to die, he's just crazy. There's nothing left there. That's not hero complex at that point. That's intentional suicide. Which again, it's Shin, right? Those are my thoughts on that. So let's go to the next one. Lord YOLO has another comment from I Won't Forget saying, I feel it's gotta be me in a sense of, oh, of course you give the suicidal job to the group of people, the monsters or subhumans. Also, Greth had way less qualms for sending the Nordlicht squadron without the 86, which is either because the 86 are children or because she feels they probably already went through enough, which means in a certain way, she does consider the 86 less expendable, or their lives are somehow worth more to her, which, though very normal for a human being, I personally would still consider pity. Oh yeah, we had like a nice big discussion of like at what point like do they cross the line with how they feel about the 86 and how they're treating them with like pity or concern or like very valid we shouldn't use child soldier kind of dialogue, because there's a lot of mixing of emotions going on in that whole pool, right?
I mean, thought off the top of my head is that it could be actual racism.
Oh right, because we did have like a huge point where they talked about the Norlick Squadron, its origins, why everyone is like perfectly willing to have them do these things, and basically like kind of drew the parallel between them and the 86ers in the first place. And obviously, like, nobody has any impression of the 86ers other than these five people, right?
If
So
there were
yeah, it could be.
systematic racism in '86
Hmm.
on the former Empire side, it would have to be with these people who aren't even deemed to be citizens, these mercenaries that people say aren't mercenaries. So the
Yeah.
86ers don't have that built-in systemic racism about them. So I don't think it's Greth considering anything different. She's not probably considering the Nordlich Squadron at all,
Hmm.
other than the fact that they're her test bed for, her prototype juggernauts. I should
A
say,
little.
I keep forgetting to throw this out first thing. We haven't watched 86 in about 3 weeks for reasons. So we're just a little bit separated from being all on top of everything like we normally are.
Oh yeah. But still, I think you do have a good point. Like, the best way to put it is, yeah, how you first said it's systemic racism. If everyone's just used to the status quo and just going along with it, it doesn't make the Nordic any better off for that, right? Um, but yeah, I think that is all the comments we have for right now. Theta, do you have any thoughts you build up over 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, I typically do these like the day after, so I'm not really even remembering what I wrote. So
Oh, we're in for a surprise then.
there's that burst of static just before the missiles explode over the Morpho and Shin's communication device goes from yellow to green. So it's not just his ability to hear the Legion, he is actually getting a transmission from somewhere. We then flash over to his squad readout, which shows a flat line next to everyone else's name. Since the symbol next to his name is a circle, we know that represents active transmission and not just an indication of dead or not. What it does note is that what Shin is receiving isn't coming from anyone in his squad. Then we do a quick flash to his radar screen and see that no one besides himself and the Morpho are in immediate range of him. Despite that, we still hear Lena's words from after she lost connection. We know that they worked on upgrading the para rate and expanded on it. This could be something to do with that.
Let's see. I'm now remembering the everybody dying at the end thing right there. It's all flooding back to me right now.
That's not what I'm referring to.
I don't know. I'm just like catching up right now. With like the way the transmissions work, like what's the final implication then there that like maybe he's had his brain already downloaded or that he's still out there, I guess.
Who's what? Who's he? And what? What?
I'm sorry. Maybe I've completely misinterpreted everything. What?
Just sending you the text because I can't. You know, sometimes.
Maybe it was too much of like a flowing train of thought, I think.
Well, while you read that, I'll explain to the audience that if there's a long period of time between when I write this stuff down and when I come back to y'all with my thoughts from the time, I may forget the cadence that I wrote the thing in the intended way of me to read it back to you, which is why sometimes I just go on a long trailing sentence without putting in the inflections that I had when I was writing it, which is why sometimes it sounds so weird when I read it back to you because I don't remember what I wrote until I get like a part way into it.
I guess the final implication of all this thought, if I'm gonna go ahead and try to rapidly interpret it, is either A, Lena's still alive, or B, Pararate messages bounce around forever.
Well, like a ham radio message.
Yeah, yeah. Just like, it just keeps bouncing.
Okay. Um, an unknown moment. No idea what it was, but when Raiden gets shot by Kira for the last time, we see Shin's communication device blink from yellow to black with a grinding squeal noise before going back to normal. No idea what that was, because if it was just Raiden's last scream, it would have just stayed yellow. This was something else. It's also the same sound that gets made after we hear Lena's voice. Maybe a signal too strong for the communication system, and her trying to break through it? I don't know. A lot of evidence for her still being alive, I guess, despite all my theories and evidence showing for before her being dead.
If I'm gonna entangle like mystery UI elements, right? What does the light indicate? It
It
would have to be
indicates.
something about the signal itself,
No, I already
right?
covered what it
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
I covered what it means in the part that I actually pasted to you.
Well, you were questioning like what does the black signal mean then?
No, that means it's off.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why in the I
You disorganized your own thoughts then.
no, I didn't. I prefaced one thing to explain the next thing. I gave you evidence, explained what the evidence meant. I do it in a way that makes one part explain the next part so that everything flows.
I'm just not in the flow. My boat's sideways in this theta river of thought here.
I think the weird thing is that I came into this recording telling you, "Oh man, I'm sick. I'm kind of out of it." And then once I start reading thoughts to you, you're like, "I don't know, man. I can't keep up with this shit."
I don't know. I'm just getting hit sideways by it a little bit. But what else you got then?
Okay, so no thoughts on that one.
Right.
Apparently, the missiles that we see are nearly identical to the ones Lena fired in the first Corps when she and Henrietta took over the defenses to aid Spearhead Squadron. Show images. Unfortunately, I forgot to put these in the overlay. I'm going to show you now, right now, Griff, and hopefully I remember to edit these in later so you, the viewer, can see the comparison.
Right.
Da,
So
da,
they're
da,
using the
da.
same technology.
The fact, like I said last episode's latest thoughts, that they are heading towards the Republic and are deep inside its territory only reinforces that fact. Kira even says near the start of the episode, while waiting for Shin's group to arrive, "At this rate, those uninvited rats will also get in my way," suggesting that there is another group on an approach that he doesn't want to deal with, unlike Spearhead.
Right, right. I think we've been over like the character focuses. Like they want to have their fight. They want to kill each other. They want to kill themselves. Uh, I'm trying to think of like the any further implications about like the missiles that you mentioned, like anything about them. And honestly, just like they were once a part of the same territory. We've been there before with that thought, right? At some point they split. They have about the same technology. They're adjacent to each other.
No,
There's no reason they can't have some of the same
no,
things.
they weren't. What are you talking about?
The Federation, the Republic.
Yeah, no, they were at war. They weren't part of the same thing. The Republic was its own thing, and the Federation was the Federation was the Empire, and the Empire then broke apart and formed a Federation. The
Hmm.
Republic was never part of the Federation or the Empire.
Um, I'm debating the world history right now. I think
No,
I'm
we're debating the
envisioning it.
world history, and I'm telling you you're wrong. And since I'm the only one with notes in front of him, that gives me more notes than you.
No, how could you? How dare? All right, what else you got?
You just like you had thoughts, and I told every time I tell you you're wrong, you don't go into like improv mode at all. I would think as the GM of multiple games, you would just like, okay, well I'm wrong. What's the next thing I got on my head?
The improv thing is yes and it's like yes I'm wrong and
Disappointing. Funny little thing I stumbled on. Cross reference Frederica's first meeting with Spearhead and how Kira acts in the fantasy future she imagines. Show images.
now do you have them ready?
Again, not in the overlay. But my problem is that this morning, after I finished editing our last reaction episode to Seed from yesterday, this is what I'm doing while you're loading these
Mhm.
up and looking at them. is that I also realized that I hadn't done my notes for the last episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, so I went through this morning and re-edited the changes to the concept board for that.
Hmm.
Since we do that tomorrow, I wanted to give myself a little head time.
Right. So we got the images, and what are we looking for here?
You must be horrible at a highlights magazine.
How'd you know? Um, but no, like what are we looking for here? Just the differences in personality for Shin, or
How do you not see it like immediately? I'm more confused by how I need to point this out.
I guess like the hair dollop? They're related. It checks out, I guess.
Okay, I think I know what's going on. Griff, did you not bother to click both links?
No, I
You
didn't.
see where it's called an album? You know what the difference between a picture and an album is? An album is comprised of multiple pictures. I, I don't.
Okay. There we go. All right. I was looking at like two still frames going, like, what's the difference between these two
Yeah,
scenes?
you didn't bother to do anything.
But yeah, no. Now I see it now that we have the group of them here. It's like the body language, the emotions are immensely similar. What? I
I
don't know
don't
what
know.
you're looking for.
I don't know. Sometimes it's harder to get shit on as the dumb ones, and then this stuff like this is the one that happens. It's been a while since I shared a chart of dates with you, but just as a reference, it's been a year since we left the Republic.
Oh, that's longer than I thought they've been gone. I thought it was like maybe under like 3 or 4 months or something. I guess the training took longer than I thought.
I don't know how. We got dates there too.
Hmm. What date did they like end their training? Like how many months was that?
Uh, let's see. Um, sorry, I'm going through the dates now. Christmas Eve, Armed Forces Parade, Shin and Company get enlisted. I guess they got enlisted in January 7th. And, well, sorry, when were you asking for?
When their training ended.
I don't think it ever officially ends in a date. Because, like, they get scolded in their Vanguard training in February, and then the next date we get is in April when they visit the memorial and Fido returns. In which case, they're still in the military doing stuff. There's no listed date for them ending. Like Shin and Eugene meet again on the battlefield in, is that June or July?
Okay.
July.
So at least that's a good point.
Like Eugene dies in July as well.
So anywhere in that half a year, they could still ostensibly still be training or doing other things that aren't being on the front line with Eugene, then I guess. I guess that checks out, but like I didn't realize there was that big of a gap between like when they visit the statue and when they end up in action that we end up seeing again.
Let's see if this works. My
Yep, there it is.
Oh, that's right, because I'm not on Better Discord at the moment. I had a plug-in for Better Discord that should have made that all one post instead of a notepad thingy.
That's all right. So yeah, beginning of the year, 1, 2, 4, and then 7. Yeah, I guess I would probably declare that all of their time not in combat is probably training. That would seem to be the most rational thing, right?
I don't know what's rational in this world.
Yeah, fair. But there we go. So I think I got a better idea of their timeline now, just looking at like the end of this here. Again, I didn't think they spent that much time hanging out.
Well, we jump around. We gotta get up to get down.
Yep.
Alright, next up, author's notes from episode 10.
Yeah.
Regarding Morpho-Curia jumping, needless to say, a 1,400-ton railway gun was never made to make those kind of movements, so it resulted in some of its armor modules falling off and its internal mechanism taking considerable damage.
Okay, at least that checks out.
The Morpho stopping for its firing schedule. The Morpho is a railway gun, a weapon meant for shooting at fixed targets such as cities and fortresses. It doesn't usually aim at armored weapons like Shin's and his friends. What was the Morpho aiming at then?
Sounds like cities and settlements and bases. It already fired at some bases earlier, which is why it became a threat, right? So any fixed position is totally possible. Also, I guess just killing all the civilian population appears to be on the robot's mind, so I guess that checks out. Oh wait, no. We also have the Fall of the Republic, too. Uh, yeah, did we ever actually confirm that it fired at the Republic?
Sorry, you've been all trail of thought, so I have no fucking idea where you're even at anymore.
Alright. So, let's just focus on the last
I'm
question.
pretty sure that we thought it fired at Shin's friends, but that's not what the author here is positing.
Alright, then, in that case, that's just a salient question. Did the Morpho ever fire on the Republic? Let's go ahead and see if the show ever tells us. Or if the author just states it, like, in the next paragraph.
No, I keep all the thoughts together.
Okay.
That was the last thought. There's no. That was not the last thought. That was the last thought in that chain right there.
Okay. Are there any more author's notes?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Alright, give us the next one.
You're so confusing sometimes. I get confused trying to explain your confusion. Lows stepping on each other. Tank turrets, which the low are equipped with, are bad at aiming vertically and firing at angles of elevation, but the enemy is above and is about to reach the important Morpho. And so, the smart low use their fellow sturdy lows as footholds and overcome the issue of the angle of elevation.
Huh. Okay, I mean, I think we saw that visually, didn't we? I think we just didn't bother commenting on it at all. Sorry.
Yes, Griff, in the anime, we saw it visually, the thing that the author is explaining to us. You nailed it.
It's just not something that, like, we came up as, like, thinking it's like, oh, this is a problem it needs to overcome. We're just like, oh, cool, it's doing it.
Edelfalter. As the Morpho retreated, blue butterflies flew off. These weren't Eitensflage, but Edenfalter. As their name implies, they produce they produce electricity and are extensions of the Legion's power generators, sent to compensate for the power the Morpho consumes.
I think we got another author's note, like, last time we were watching that was basically to that same tune, explaining, like, oh, these things bring in the extra energy it needs for this. So I guess this is just kind of repeat information. We've
Okay.
been here before, I swear we have. Or maybe it was a user who actually told us about it.
Griff's critique of the author's notes.
Just
Still,
saying, we know this. We've been aware.
still too far. Artillery isn't typically as heavily armored as a tank, but since the Morpho is a precious railgun, it's equipped with heavy armor. In the novel, it also has reactive armor, which is difficult for heat rounds to penetrate. This forced Shin to get closer to it and fire an ADF SDS round at close range to take it out.
Okay. I think when we were watching last, it was definitely silly the way like he had to like put his barrel up against it, but I guess having it explained why that was necessary and not just Shin going for it because it's fun. Uh I can accept that explanation.
40mm anti-air autocannon. They look small compared to the Morpho's hulking size, but if a person were to take a hit from a 40mm autocannon, they'd be reduced to mincemeat in a second. The Reagan Cleave can't withstand a direct hit from them.
Yeah, using weapons for their unintended purposes. It's still gonna damage them. It just you probably shouldn't be using it. Not like the Morpho cares.
Wings/melee combat mode. The wings are meant for expelling heat, so if they're used to attack, the Morphos cooling systems can't keep up. Using the wings as a melee weapon is a last resort, so if it were to be doused with napalm instead of flame while it used them, even the Morpho wouldn't be able to take it. The Morpho's railgun barrel is 30 meters long, meaning that so long as one has remained within 30 meters of it, it wouldn't be able to fire. The barrel could at best be used as a bludgeon. However, being in 30 meters of the Morpho means he must contend with 1. A 30-meter long bludgeon weighing several hundred tons. 2. Electrical wires swung in melee combat. 3. In Kira's case, a jumping stomp attack.
I'm just trying to picture, like, all right, if Shin was at 31 meters and it decided to fire, I don't think that's going to be very good for the Morpho either. I think the effective range uh is much further afield than that. But the getting hit by the giant bludgeon instead, given the way that the Legion acts when they actually have a human mind behind them, starts to become like a very credible threat. The Legion, when they're just the AI, don't seem to like be interested in ever using things like outside of their initial capacity. Like I've never seen them swing like in the way that like we saw the Morpho move, right?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Yeah.
Where is your knight? Shin can tell where Kira is thanks to his ability, so he shouldn't need to ask this. He asks anyway to drive it home that while he might be the one pulling the trigger, it's Frederica who's shooting Kira down, so that Kira wouldn't be haunted. So that Frederica wouldn't be haunted by her past with Kira any longer.
Right. I wouldn't deny that the two work together, and this is as much Frederica's win as Shin's here. That's kind of like the entire narrative point of like everything they went through in the last 3 episodes leading up to it, right? If Frederica didn't get any satisfaction out of it, she literally just straight up said, like, I have nothing to live for.
I mean, satisfaction is literally the opposite of the point.
Hmm. Maybe I'm getting that point across wrong, but
You
continue.
are. You are. That's the last one.
All right. So we have now gone over all the thoughts, all the author's notes, and of course, we just have what happened last time. As a real quick note. Last time was all that's left where, as the 86 approaches, the Morpho, the path is repeatedly blocked by attacks from the Legion. In order to advance, they each take on the roles of decoys, and their numbers are dwindling one by one. So, I think the thing that still hits me from last time, even like a month out now, everyone else is dead. They did it, Theta. They built up the rest of the cast. I was thinking, all right, they all get to go on and have a happy life, and Shin's the one that's gonna die, and he's gonna do a heroic sacrifice. Like, nope, no, we're just gonna build more tragedy around Shin. Everyone he knows is dead. He's the one that's left. He has no reason to live except to kill more robots. This is the lowest point, right? This is the point he thought he would get at, and now he's here. Everyone is dead. He's the last one who remains.
I guess the only spoiler here is that we know that there's a more novel.
Hmm. Oh yeah, no, he
So,
can definitely continue to be tragic, but like I wasn't expecting us to end up here in this way exactly as he
no,
predicted.
I mean, pretty sure we thought he was dead.
Hmm. Oh right, right. Shin himself may also be dead,
It's pretty
but
hard
there's
to
more novels, so
continue to
yeah.
be tragic when you're dead.
We got 2 more episodes to watch here too. So what are you gonna be watching? Lena's gone, Shin's gone. Who's left for 40 minutes, right?
It pretty much looked like Frederica was too close to the blast to survive as well.
Yeah, that's gonna need some coverage, right? It's like there has to be at least a little bit of shrapnel or something. The concussive blast alone, might be
I mean, they can't juke
deadly.
us at every season finale, right, to make everybody alive again.
That there's no way
You only
more
get the
than two
one.
people come back to life, is what I think.
You only get the one. You can't bring people back to life every season.
Mhm.
I think you can only do that once, and then this turns into a Superman thing.
Well, we buried him. We confirmed he doesn't have a pulse, but he's still moving around. So, Death of Superman is fun. So, yeah, no. What do we do? Shin's obviously got to be back. He's the focal character. He's the main character. Like we agree on that, right?
He doesn't have to be back.
I feel like it would make the most sense for him to be
Also,
back.
we've already explored the white space where it looks like Shin goes when he's dead. So,
Hmm.
I mean, Shin Shin as a narrative device could still be here for 2 episodes. The
Hmm.
white space or whatever doesn't mean
Oh,
he
we could
has
have
to
like
be
the whole end of
alive.
Evangelion thing. It's like, congratulations, you're in the white space now.
I guess at some point we should probably watch the movies, considering all we ever do is reference the end of the TV show, which is definitively not the end of the series.
Probably.
Yeah, probably the end of the series is probably one of those movies that's called The End of Evangelion.
Yeah, there is. The funny thing is, still only seen the series, so you know what? I'm down for it.
I think I've only seen the series and I barely remember it. It's not even close to being my favorite of Anno's work.
I remember, sorry, trying to Shinji and the girl doing DDR. That's what I remember most.
I think
Asura, isn't it? Or
I think the thing that I remember the most is literally just the end, not
Mhm.
the clapping end, but the Shinji strangling Asuna on the beach at the end of the world.
Oh, oh yeah.
That's the one that sticks with me because it's very
Mhm.
much a weird, because you get the angel in the background and all these uh, crucifixes and a bloody ocean of, I guess,
Yeah,
humanity, and then just these two, and one is strangling the other one, which is very much symbolic of humanity.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, no, human instrumentality. All of humanity is a puddle now. Back to this though. I think there's a good case for Frederica still being completely alive. Because if Shin's gone, I think she makes sense as the most focal mortal person who is still around.
I would say that I disagree and
Okay.
position Greth.
She's had build up. It could be functional, but I don't feel like the emotional impact is there. I don't
Then you're
know.
not paying attention to her uncompleted storyline where her
Fair.
husband or her fiance is died
We
before the
Mhm.
wedding, and the other her friend or an enemy, I can't tell, her
Frenemy,
frenemy,
yeah.
yeah, who is mad that he did that, who because he bought a bunch of bouquets and whatnot to fill the wedding hall, but then had to fill up the funeral hall with them instead.
Yeah. So maybe we get like the command squad just talking to each other about the things that happened and a prediction about like, here's what we would have to do next, here's where we are, and just like wrap it up in a this is what the future of this world probably is like kind of stance. Maybe that's where we're gonna
It's
go.
the default of where I think the characters given would go. Like
Hmm.
if I was running a game or if I was just like writing notes for a novel, I'd be like, okay, who's left? And that's where I would pivot. At the same time, this is not young adult, but this is clearly a anime positioned to make the main characters normal anime character age.
Hmm.
It would seem weird to go to like gate main character age.
I would definitely still I would definitely solidly put this in the young adult fiction section. Definitely with the advisory tag, but I definitely am gonna put it in there. I would put this like right alongside Hunger Games, which also does some fucked up shit, honestly.
If you're gonna put it next to Hunger Games and you put Hunger Games next to Battle Royale, that means you're putting 86 next to Battle Royale, which I don't think equates.
Um, that's a long discussion.
Well, the thing about A equals B, B equals C, C equals D is that it usually only has a problem when you start introducing things into the list, right? If 86 equals Hunger Games, fine, fine. But then we already know Hunger Games equals Battle Royale. It's the inspiration. So
But Battle Royale obviously is in young adult fiction.
it is. It's literally the same age group. The same shit happens. Literally, people fall in love in the battlefield, try to save one another. You know, we have the same twists in Hunger Games as we have in Battle Royale. One is they're just handled differently, but it's the same medium and almost the same media.
The funny thing is, Hunger Games also has like some of the same through lines that we were talking about earlier, like where the 86ers are like uncertain about the people they're with and like constantly suspicious of them. The 86ers didn't go around and like pull the twist and like try to take down the new group that they're a part of, but you know, they're different stories, right?
I'm just saying that I don't think many people would have a problem with Hunger Games equals Battle Royale.
Hmm.
But if you like sliced off the Hunger Games part of that and just left 86 equal, I mean, or sorry, uh, if you just left the equal sign and Hunger Games, and you said 86 equals Hunger Games, and we reattach the former thing, it now makes no sense. There's no way you can get to 86 equals Battle Royale.
I never said you could.
Yeah, you can. These two don't equal this one. Your line makes no sense.
Still, I think maybe on that thought, let's go and see what we actually get today. How's that sound? But before we get started, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can go ahead and follow us over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra.
Click the link down below, join the Discord, follow us up for the next show that's coming up after this. I think Pluto is replacing Symphogear, so the one after this was. What was it, Griff?
I don't know, what was it, Theta?
I know we got Gurren Lagann in the line, but that's not what's being
Furion?
replaced by this. Now maybe his Symphogear is getting replaced by Furion, and then this is getting replaced by Pluto. That makes the most sense. This is a
There you
pretty
go,
long
then.
ask for you guys to join Discord, but go ahead and do it anyway. Start with the opening.
Only two more times, Theta.
Possibly. Last episode might not have the opening.
You know what? I actually want to make the bet now. Because there's more light novel content, that the entire series we're watching right now is going to end off on some sort of cliffhanger or think that'll happen next. And we just gotta wait for season 3.
I'm gonna make the bet right now. Well, I'm gonna start a bet right now, Griff.
Okay.
Shin, alive or dead?
Alive. I'm taking the dark horse here.
Alright. Well, since I think Lena is dead, I'm gonna go with probably also dead.
Okay.
And that I think maybe, well, I don't know if Lena's dead. I'm thinking she's dead. She might not be dead, but I'm going with dead for Shin. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking that maybe if there's more light novel, what if this is just the prequel? This is a Vinland Saga season 1.
And none of it mattered. Yeah, there we go.
No, no, not that none of it mattered, but it was all set up to change who Lena was, right? If Lena's still alive, it makes sense that this could be like the prequel. This is who Lena was. Now this is who Lena is. Chapter 1.
Yeah. Oh, that could be possible.
The last 2 minutes of the last episode.
I'm down for it. It's some of the coolest minutes.
交わることは決してできない。残っていても何にもならない。どこにも行けない。
You're gonna love Gurlong.
もう
Oh, definitely.
I'm just hearing some of those messages here. Ghost hand is something you're only supposed to do with the privacy of your own home.
Well, he's in a private tank right now. It's fine.
それはお前だってそうだろう。俺と同じ。もう何もない。お前も。いや、お前の方こそ差し違えて死ぬつもりだったじゃないか。
I just hate it when somebody who's dying tells you, know you.
どうしてまだ生きてる。
Forged a connection at the last second, and now it explodes.
お前のせいだ。何もかもすべてお前のせいだ。
Right, but we already resolved this.
I don't think Shin has.
Yeah, he has. End of last core.
Or he's just seeing his life flash before his eyes.
お前さえいなければ。お前さえいなければ。お前さえいなければ。死神が。もう俺になんて囚われなくていい。俺のことなんか忘れていいから。嫌だ。待ってくれ。
Hey, the broken statue thing wasn't sitting on the bench anymore.
They cleared it off at some point.
Nope. They broke its head off at some point.
Or I guess in the dreamscape he doesn't care
Yeah.
about.
Stop focusing on the statue.
Hey, front row, sit down.
ありがとう。ありがとう。
Ah, black dog.
ありがとう。シン。
モルフォを打つためだけに生かされていただけじゃないか。
シェン、それならもうありがとう。どこにもいらないお前が。
Intrusive thoughts are really trying to kill Shin right now.
もうどこにもないじゃないか。
シェン。
ああ、いや。
Man, it is the end of the Evangelion TV show.
お前が自由に生きて幸せになってその途中でさ時々さ自由幸せ勝手なことを言うな俺を一人きりにしてどうして誰も彼も俺一人置いて先に死んでそれでも最後まで戦い抜く
It can only really happen in that order.
誇りだとここまで君は死に場所を求めて戦っていただけだそんな馬鹿げた旅路に彼らを連れ回して
This... We're really just replaying the entire tragedy of Shin here.
心が冷え切ってしまったから仲間たちと交わした情が熱うて痛いのじゃ
抱えきれないほど辛い
それならしばらく預かってあげるから少しは私たち
I
に
mean, at least they're not bleeding, I guess. Like the pet cemetery of friends we just left behind.
Oh, nope, there we go.
Oh man, he got cut by the window.
またお前一人だけ置いてかれちまったな
Oh, is this symbolic of his eyes closing, you think?
I think so.
待って
Or not?
We're opening.
Shit, did I get uploaded?
He's
Oh,
alive.
never mind. So what, 5 hours?
Sounds right.
Well, I think the last time we saw was 44 hours in. Now we're at 49. Still not on the comms.
Ah, still has to deal with it.
Looks like Frederica might be dead. 'Cause that's where the gun was, remember?
Oh yeah.
Just unbuckle the seatbelt, man. Man, it sounds like Kira's crying.
Some immense pain crying.
終わりのつもりだったのだろう
He's got one more life.
No, remember they have a transfer protocol that
Yep.
only works like half the time.
また俺一人だけ忘れないでいてくれますか本当はずっと撃ってくれ俺を待ち焦がれていたこの時を
Huh?
One, it's obviously Lena, right? But also, her foot stepped over the frame of the show. If you didn't notice that. The same frame that cut Shin's hand.
Coming from the other continuity, let's go. It is! Lena with the expendable anti-tank, hell yeah!
Well, I mean, she was all fuzzy. And also, this is the red field, which is the dead field.
Oh, that is an out-of-it face right there.
Yeah, I can't tell if the screen is just broken. Yeah, he doesn't know what the fuck she looks like.
Oh, that's cute.
防衛線維持のためレギオンの排除を実施しました支援をいただきありがとうございますいえですが ご心配いただき恐縮ですが本体は後方に接近しており合流は可能かと一緒に来ますか
I don't see her. Never mind, there she is. I don't know, this is real.
I think it might be.
How do you think this is real? You think Lena walked through the battlefield?
She had to go somewhere.
Also, then why did all the blue flowers turn red, the death color?
Because they're actually just red?
Yeah, then why are the blue flowers still blue behind it?
Right.
Okay, this is real. This is happening. And he recognizes the voice.
たとえ力及ばなかったとしても諦めて膝を折るような無様はしない命尽き果てるその最後の瞬間まで投げ出すことなく戦い抜くそう言って生き抜いた人たちがいて同じように荒れると彼らは私を信じてくれました
Here we go, the ego boost. I'm gonna talk up my dead companion who I don't realize is in front of me.
生き抜いた彼らに追いつくために彼らを連れてその先まで進むために戦うんです私は旧共和国防衛部隊指揮官ブラディレーナ・ミリーセ隊私はこの戦
And we're getting the rest of the screen back.
決して逃げません
Too late, you said it.
その彼らはとうに死んだ人間でしょう。死人を相手に何の義理が。
忘れないでと言われましたから。その人がこの破局を、レギオンの大構成を教えてくれたから私は生き延びられた。生き残ってほしいと願ってくれたから、いつか会えたらと言葉を残してくれたから、また戦える。その人がいてくれたから。
And thus giving Shin the only thing he lacked this entire time. A reason to keep going.
Yeah.
Now that everyone's dead.
Oh, but now we have the main pair together. Oh, it's gonna be great. And then it ends.
彼らと一緒に戦いたいから。彼らをこの戦場の向こうに連れて行きたいから。あなたもあなたもそうでしょ。戦い抜いたから、生き抜いたから、今そこにいる。
I mean, it's not the end, though.
そのことを
The guy controlling Kira is still
怒
around.
ってもいいのだと思います。
You think he's just been sitting there quietly this entire time and we're just gonna get a flash cut to tank shots directly at
No,
Lena?
Griff, I'm talking about No Face.
Oh,
It's not-
right,
it's
yeah,
not
no,
here.
the Legion threat is still a hold. Yes, you are correct.
少佐少佐、俺は
Now fuck you if nobody's there.
Stab him in the heart so hard, let's go. I said at least 2 people gotta be alive.
No, somebody else is in that mech in the back. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
But no, I mean, it confirms my thought was that nobody might be there.
いけない。連邦の方、あなたも一緒に退避を。
いえ
He said he had support.
No, he was lying. Remember, the other 2 countries are still here. Plus, like, yes, the Empire too. I mean, Federacy.
まさか。いや、でもそんな。キクロプス。あんた気づかねえのか。
Oh, it's Cyclops. She's still alive.
帝国ですね。
I thought she was dead for sure.
で、そうか。そういや見たはずねえのか。
She still doesn't
Hey,
realize.
I'm here. I'm
Hey.
here.
Right at the end of the series. Let's go.
無事なの？脳前注意。
中佐生きていたんですね。
おかげさまで。これでも心配してたのよ。作戦目標完遂したなら報告はちゃんと
Tell
し
you,
て
if
ちょう
that
だい。
music had kept playing, I'd probably be crying right now. But thank God it
今
stopped.
回は他の子が報告してくれたからよかったけど。
生き残ったやつが。
They're all here. It was a fake out.
お前な、そういうことは真っ先に確認しろ。ほんと、ハータクレナが大泣きして大変だったよ。
How did they all survive? How did Raiden survive? We saw him die, or almost die, then run back into the field and then fucking get killed.
Maybe this really is just all Death World.
死んだんじゃねえかって。まあちっとは心配したぞ。てなわけで。
Yeah, we fucking saw him get killed.
Oh, even Dog is alive.
先には行ってねえよ。
Then why did everybody else have to die if we were just gonna bring people back to die?
お疲れ様。シンまだいたんですか、エルンスト。かわいい
ちの子を心配しているだけなのにその言い方何？僕一応連邦軍の最高司令官だからね。こういう時こそいなくてどうするのさ。先遣隊の報告によるともう接触してるみたいだけど、連邦軍は本作戦終了後旧サンマグノリア共和国の救援作戦を実施する。無人機が共和国内の無線を傍受し、三国の合議で決定した。
telling us what a second season might be.
建造された場合、防衛施設で囲まれた共和国内に陣取られると深刻な脅威となり得るし、それに
Which is what I said might be the thing.
見捨てるのは人道に反するからね。連邦にとっては同胞、君たちと同じ86の救出作戦でもあるから否やはない。でも帰りたい祖国じゃないんだろ。迫害者のために戦いたくないというなら本体進出を待って構想させるけど。
いえ、このまま残ります。共和国を助けたいとは思いませんが、死なせたくない人間も中にはいますから。
そう。
先ほど接触した共和国軍の処遇は？
こちらのヘリでグランミュールへ向かう。レギオン遭遇時は護衛のヘリが対応するから、しばらくは先遣隊に任せ少し休みなさい。
I know we're being way too quiet for a reaction channel, but since it's
There's so
What?
much to take in. Oh, she's still
Frederica.
here.
コンテナにでも詰めて送り返します。
I'll throw her in her box.
頼むね、お兄ちゃん。
There we go. The last bit of tension gone. Thank you, Frederica. We needed you.
本体と合流しても帰らぬからな。
別にもう人質の必要はないんだけど。
そのようじゃの。
よく無事だったな。
キリが守ってくれたのじゃ。
of course he would have.
That's still a little bit too danger close, but I mean,
I mean, it makes sense.
concussion and some scrapes versus in the explosion is still better, I guess.
預かった拳銃。
ああ、もういい。結局戦場に戻る言い訳でしかなかった。
今も抱えてやって、一人たりとも投げ出さずに向き合ってやりながら何が言い訳じゃ、バカ者め。お人よしの死神が。名乗らぬでよかったのかの。あの者がそなたの共和国での指揮官なのであろう。
少佐のことは話してないはずだけど。
わらわの力を忘れたかや。
Yeah, well, do you forget?
あの者が名乗った時、そなたと来たららしくもなく驚いておったでの。なんと関わりのある者なのかと見たのじゃ。
Oh, I love her. I love Frederica so much.
だったかの。追うてきておってよかったの。けなげにそなたを慕ってこれまで進んできたその相手に、そなた名乗らずでよかったのかの。
I'm surprised we're not getting that.
まだ名乗れない。追いつくと言われたから。追いついて、たどり着いた先がこんなありさまじゃあんまりだろう。
Fuck off! All this effort!
景色はこんな戦場なんかじゃない。
There we go. At least that's a nice sentiment.
なんというか。
She's gonna be a 54-year-old man before he meets Lena.
There we go. At least Frederica is here for your opinions.
そなた今答えを出しておるぞ。あの者が進むにはそれにふさわしい景色がある。あの者の行く道はそなたが先にたどった道じゃ。ではそなたの目指すべき先はどこじゃ。その答えを今そなたは自ら出していたであろう。
Oh, Shin actually breaking a smile.
Can't exactly tell what the hand motion was there, but it feels like he caught a kiss. Because
That
it feels
was
like
just like a reaching
he
out for
grabbed
you
it. No, no,
motion.
because he did this at the end. You know, like, I got you in my heart sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like catching a kiss.
Gosh, this really was the make Shin cry episode. Just literally the entirety of it. Oh, they all know.
It also shows that Greth is like the opposite of him. Because you remember, he says, Stelina, can't I just use my gun cam footage? And she says, no, write a report.
Yeah. I know, I think given all the recordings they have and everything to happen, I don't think Shin needs a report.
そりゃ変わるさ。俺たちと同じように戦って生き残ってきたんだ。
いろいろあったけど、よかったなんで泣いてんの？
There we go, someone broke down and cried this episode, at least one of them.
会ってみたかったわね。一度くらい。
ハンドラー1
Oh, that was a lot to take in, wasn't it?
Well,
Oh, every single little bit of build-up and emotion, like, literally paid off in one episode. This is the finale. What are we doing next episode?
this isn't the finale. This is the penultimate episode.
I know. This feels like it should be the finale. That's just where it ends. It's like, all right, she's there, they're there. We've gone over the emotions. We're done.
Well,
We're done, right?
Ernst already said that we were going back to the Republic to help
Right.
them clear out, so that if they ever make a new Morpho, it doesn't station itself there within their defenses.
At least we did answer, why is there more book, right?
Well, no, there's more light novels after this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
this has nothing to do with just ending here. That means there's more light novels after next episode, too.
Right. Gosh, I thought this was really going to be way more tragic. I feel that's the way the entire series has, like, built itself up. So getting, like, an actual, like, high point of, like, for all the characters here, for literally everyone, and Lena is confirmed alive. It's just like, this is such a nice little package.
Well, I mean, obviously, I got emotional when I saw it all, but, I mean, I am a bit disappointed that they are all alive. Because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. We saw Raiden fucking die. Like, I don't understand how he's alive with just cuts and bruises, not like in the ICU or something. No, the dude survived one near death and then literally rushed in to get blown up. Dude should be dead.
Let me go ahead and put it like this. The Morpho is an artillery thing meant to take out cities, and it blew up. And Shin was at ground zero and survived.
Self-destruct
At
mechanism.
some point, the engineering of the things that they're driving can apparently take a lot more abuse than people think.
No, remember, it got blown up. Like, it didn't... Shin got ejected back by the explosion. Raiden got blown up. There's not a mixture here of words. We saw him blow up.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's a call for, we need to go back and get video evidence and just go like, look, there's his corpse leaving the explosion. We need to do that here, but we're not going to have enough time until next time.
I'm just saying it feels almost insulting to everybody that has died that these characters are just fucking surviving the shit that everybody else died. It goes against everything that I'm always complimenting 86 for, which is the whole war is bad motif. Well, it's not really bad if your main characters are such badasses that they just survive everything. 86 doesn't do that. And I expected, after all the times that I've said that at best, Shin and or Lena would be the only survivors here.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden everybody's alive and it's a happy ending, and it's like, I guess war wasn't all that bad.
We got three options here. We got the ending we got, which I would say is a pretty happy ending right now if we just like cut here, nothing else happened, right? If we had all of his squad died and then he sees Lena alive, it would be the most bittersweet thing possible because he's lost everything else that he was actively caring about at that point to get back something he already thought was lost.
Bittersweet is what I expected.
Yeah, yeah. The third option is, of course, everybody is dead. Pure tragedy. No happy ending, no resolution. It just everything is bad and you're dead.
Also would have been
Shin,
happy with that. A real Evangelion ending, except
Mhm,
that everybody's dead. You know, like it was all in his mind, and then you pan back the camera, and it's just like you see the light fading from his eyes. It's just his
mhm.
body staring up at the sky. Final
Right.
moments.
We kind of got that initially with his own like beat down in his own head.
The end of the first core is what we got.
Yeah. But still, I think I'm happier with the happy resolution here. It is not what I expected, and getting surprised by it is nice. I don't feel like they cheapened anything. I didn't think Lena was dead in the first place.
Two things.
Uh,
Two things. I am unhappy with it, but I'm happy with it. There's a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
duality here. I
yeah.
enjoy what I saw. I felt emotions. I was happy with what I watched. I
Hmm.
am unhappy with it though, for the reasons I said before, because I do feel a bit robbed that this very real world where people die for arbitrary reasons, or not arbitrary reasons, if not arbitrary reasons rather, than
Hmm.
for very real reasons, to suddenly decide we can't kill these characters. We put them on the front of the on the front of the DVD. It's like,
They
well,
killed the rest of them.
I guess maybe because I so associated with Black Dog so early on, and then he gets killed like what, episode 6, to
Hmm.
feel like, well, if my favorite person in the crew can just suddenly die, then anybody should just suddenly be able to die. So now,
I
what did
think
I
I'm still
say?
sold on that as a possibility.
What did I say before this?
Hmm.
If they did a fake out, you can only get us with a fake out once. You can only get us with a fake out once before it goes sour. And they
This is
did
it
it.
then. We can't do any more,
No, they already
obviously.
did it. They did it in the end of first core, where they're all dead, and then Shin is a headless body, and then suddenly, boom, we're all back. Y'all are in the hospital now, and we're all cool. Everyone's alive.
So, a slightly alternative perspective. Here's an idea. These things get done, and at some point, once they get done, the author goes, I actually want to write more. And just revises it slightly so they can keep going with
We
it.
already covered this before the episode,
I
Griff.
think we did, yeah.
Yeah, I said specifically I would have pivoted to the adult characters, and then, we would have
Mhm.
gone from there. Which I even then said would have been a weird thing to do, because I don't think that's what you can do in this show, which is why we went to the whole young adult thing. And I pointed out that these characters would be older, like in Gate. So,
Right.
um, yeah. I only thing I think you could have said would have been like, I got one thing to say for you. Shut the fuck up and enjoy the show. I'm like, okay, I guess I can't argue with that. Which I'm sure is what every audience member here is going to get to the end and realize something that every audience member that ever watched Stone Faced Reactions is going to learn, is that no matter how much we like the show going forwards, at some point, possibly the last 2 episodes, I'm going to say, this doesn't make any fucking sense, and instantly lose the whole goddamn audience.
Yeah, you just can't stick the landing, Theta. That's all. That's all.
No, I can stick the landing just fine. Apparently, my argument tends to be every show we've ever watched has a real problem sticking the landing. Except for, the exceptional ones like Made in Abyss, where I'm like, God, I just can't
Mhm.
wait for more. This
I
show
mean,
constantly sticks the landing.
again, though, I think like we can separate that from like your critical perspective because this is like the emotional expectation you have going in, And the context is you feel like that emotional expectation didn't get satisfied. And that's a perfectly valid thing to have happen. You didn't get the exact media you thought you were going to get.
Well, no,
Which
I would
happens.
argue that the emotional bit was satisfying. Like I said,
Mhm.
if the song had kept playing a bit longer, I would have been crying more.
Yeah.
Thankfully, all I had to do was wipe my nose because the song ended really quick. But yeah, no, there's a certain element that I felt suddenly was done away with. Like
Mhm.
I feel like this show, all the times that we've done like uh Shin picturing all those dead comrades in the field and everything like that, that we could have just opened the cockpit, Shin like hopeful for the future, goes to get out, see Lena for the first time, and there's nobody fucking here. Like it was all in his fucking head, like
Yeah.
the product of a concussion or something. And that would have been spot on for what the show was like. Shin, sole survivor, now depressed and left alone in a
I
field of red.
I got one more. I got one more way this show could have ended. He's sitting there, he's talking to Lena, he opens the cockpit expecting to see her one more time, and instead sees a shepherd. And it's Lena,
Well, okay. Well,
which could have been even more manipulative and the most tragic, saddest ending possible.
here's my final pitch. We've got one episode left.
Yeah.
I don't have to shit on the show, right? I'm not shitting on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love where we're at still. I just disappointed that it didn't go in the way I thought it would go, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
who am I, right? I'm not the writer of the show. If I could create something this good, I wouldn't be reacting to shit. I'd be making shit, right? So,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I recognize that my opinion is not the best. Stone faced reactions, not the best take.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still feel like it could pull back to something that I was expecting. We've got one more episode named Handler 1. What if that whole episode is Lena's perspective and it ends with her getting to that field and
Mhm.
finding Shin dead? And all of that was Shin's final moments in his mind. And that was
Just
it.
imagining being happy. Yeah, no, like that's a distinct possibility. I think I was pitching that mid episode, so I'm down for it.
Yeah, it's like
Because you would get back what you were asking
how
for.
can this show have a happy ending? It does not make sense to me. It's like ever since that fireworks episode where we went through everybody who was at the meeting
Uh,
in the first month when they all became together to form Spearhead,
yeah.
getting the flashes of fireworks and just their smiling faces indicating that they died in the previous month. And it's like, this is not a show that deserves a happy ending. This is a show that deserves everyone to be crying with like little napkins and shit, wiping tears from their face on the final
Uh,
episode.
but
It,
then we spend like 6 episodes crying with Shin falling into depression. He needs at least one happy moment.
no, it's
He
not.
gets one.
What's the point of a happy moment? The only point of a happy moment is to remind you of how sad it is when you lose it.
Gosh, I was reading uh Delicious in Dungeon because like I've been on a kick for that recently, and it came to a part just like talking about like nightmares and like why do the monsters always go for like negative energy, and like it's talking about like this artist who's like writing about all the dreams he has and eventually gets so depressed and he just writes down, it's like, well, one tires of happiness eventually, but tragedy is bottomless, as like the explanation for like why do they keep getting all of like the terrible dreams eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about that in context here. It's like, if it was all happiness, we would probably want to change. But if it's all tragedy, we can have one happy moment and it's fine.
Well, two things here. One, tragedy is bottomless is a great tagline for Made in Abyss.
Oh, it totally is. Oh gosh, it
Uh,
sure is.
two, I think that reminds me of something I probably said in my teenage years, which, by the way, more than 20 years behind me at this point. But I think I've always said, like, I can't remember exactly what I said. I used to have a phrase exactly for this. It was like, you can only tickle me so much, but I've never encountered my limit on pain.
You can always be stabbed more.
Well, technically I can. I've told you plenty of times of like biopsies I've been in where they didn't um, do the anesthesia in the area,
Mm-hmm.
so it felt incredibly like I was stabbed to the point of like tilt him back, put more towels on his face because like I'm going white with shock because
Yeah.
it's not like getting stabbed in normal, which I assume is more
Mm.
like stab, 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 which is knife in and out or twisting. This is actively twisting a knife and juggling it around in one spot, trying to do something. It's like, you are stabbing me a lot.
There we go. All right, so I think on being stabbed a lot, that's where we're going to go ahead and end today. This has been Stone Face Reactions, everybody. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone Face Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?